Hey there guys, Kinniku Ninja here. That doesn't work, does it, without the arms being visible? Hang on. Hey there guys, Kinniku Ninja here. Back again with another video. Right, a lot of people have been saying to me, right, we've watched your progress video from failure to fluency about how you managed to get really good at Japanese in a very short amount of time, but where do we start? So here's my video, my quick start guide to learning Japanese through the immersion method. This is going to be a quick start guide particularly to using Anki, so let's skip out the intro, let's go. The AJATT method can be very confusing, so let's assume that you're a very beginner, absolute beginner, you know no Japanese at all. Okay, so step one, you need to go and download the Anki app. If you're an Android phone user, you can download Anki Droid, or if you've got a PC or a Mac, you need to use the Anki website. I'll put all the links you need in the description box below. So day one, you've got Anki, you need a Hiragana and Katakana shared deck. Anyone's fine really, but I'll put one of those up there as well, and the links are below. And the Kanji one, the RTK, remembering the Kanji. Now there is a book on... Shh. Dog noises. There is a book on RTK, but however, I wouldn't really say it's necessary, particularly in the beginning. All you need to do is be able to see a kanji and quickly remember its English equivalent. You don't need to remember how to draw it or how to read it, all that comes later. Okay? So, Hiragana, Katakana, Kanji, day one. Day one. There are lots of Japanese learners. Are you going to make that noise the whole time we're here? There are lots of Japanese learners that have been studying like for many years and haven't learned a single kanji, because they're scared of the vast number of them. Yeah, there's 2,500 and whatever of them you have to remember. But, and this is a big but, if you don't start now, you've still got to learn them in 3 years' time. So you might as well make a head start for yourself. When I went to university and we did Japanese lessons there, they wouldn't even let us write in Hiragana and Katakana. They had to make us write in Romaji, which is awful. But Japanese doesn't make sense without it. And as you've seen in some of my other videos, when I'm trying to read words in Hiragana, especially when I'm playing Pokemon, like the amount of times I come across a word and I'm like, what does that mean? And kanji is just so useful, so don't avoid kanji, it's really helpful. So, Hiragana, Katakana, Kanji, day one. Now before you go any further, turn your cards down now. I think to begin with, I think Anki's default setting is 20 new cards a day, which is fine for some people, but for me I found it completely overwhelming, and a lot of people think, why is he asking us to turn our cards down? We want to learn Japanese fast. Well, the thing is, if you do those 20 cards today, you'll also have to do them tomorrow plus 20 new ones, and that becomes 40, and the next day it's 60, and then what begins as 5 minutes in Anki quickly becomes 3 hours, and it's just painful and you experience burnout, and it should never ever be like that. Anki should be the icing on the cake really. The real time should be spent doing actual immersion. So yeah, you might get through day one on Anki in 5 minutes or even less than that, but don't you worry, it's coming. The Anki apocalypse will be coming your way very soon, especially if you keep up with this. So turn the reps down. I recommend no more than 5 new cards a day. Yep, so few. And that's to make sure you don't experience burnout. And whenever you're not doing Anki, but you're thinking to yourself, man, I really want to learn Japanese, then fine, go read a textbook. Whenever you're just chilling out and you're thinking, I really want to learn Japanese, make sure you get on with any kind of immersion. So watch YouTube, play video games, read books. I know, well, it'd be difficult to read books, but maybe you could look for the kanji you know already that you've learned through Anki. Things like that, okay? Don't worry too much about the things you don't understand, just allow your brain to absorb it. The best media to do that is obviously television, or if you're in Japan, go outside. And lots of people end up burning out with Anki and have a proper love-hate relationship with it. I've always loved it because, again, my reps have always been low. It's been done in less than 45 minutes in a day, and the rest of the time I can just spend enjoying myself. Netflix is also a really good resource for learning Japanese. It's got all sorts of programs on it, especially the Netflix originals always come with Japanese dubs as well, so make yourself a new Netflix account. set your home language as Japanese and you'll be amazed at what sort of content unlocks for you. Oh yeah, turn the subtitles off, or even better, put the Japanese ones on and look out for those symbols that you've learned. Whenever you're not doing Anki, that's what you should be doing. When you've got comfortable with Hiragana and Katakana, the next step is to learn some vocabulary. So I highly recommend the Nihongo Shark Core 2000 deck, again linked in the description, and you need to be using that to learn yourself some vocab. And when you're not using Anki, be looking for the vocabulary that you know inside the things you're immersing with. Day 30, or whenever you feel like it, I recommend giving yourself quite a lot of time to build up some vocabulary with the Nihongo Shark deck, the Kanji and the Hiragana Katakana. That's when you need to use the Take Him grammar deck. Now, Take Him is a bit awkward, especially if you don't really understand Japanese at all to begin with. That's why I said you can use it just a little bit later on, when you've built up quite a bit of knowledge about Japanese, because it requires you to have some knowledge of the language and you need to really take your time with them. So it'll show you grammar structure and how the patterns work in one single sentence, and it's up to you to recognise that pattern, use and apply it with other words and sentences out in the wild, and that's where it can get a bit tricky. So where are we now? We should have Hiragana, Katakana, and again you can delete these decks when you get confident with them because the rest of the Japanese language contains those, so you should be seeing them so often you don't need those decks anymore when you got confident with them. Hiragana, Katakana, Kanji, Nihongo Shark. And this again, so imagine each one of these got 5 new cards a day. It's going to add up so much on Anki, you're going to hate it. And then Take Him to help you with the grammar. That's 5 decks, a lot of decks, but you're going to need a 6th. The next one is for your sentence mining. 3 months into my AJATT journey is when I started doing my sentence mining. I started looking for the sentences that I was able to recognise all but one word in that sentence, and that's what you play in the game of. What is that one word? You find out that one word maybe using gshow.org, again link in description, or any other kind of Japanese to English dictionary. Look it up, make a new Anki card of your own with the Japanese on the front, English on the back, and that one word on there as well, to help you find out what it means. And then it is basically just a rinse and repeat of that game. What is that +1 sentence, that one word that I don't know? Where is that one word I don't know? And from there, Japanese quickly goes from gibberish, where you understand nothing, to picking out random words and random symbols, to understanding lots of sentences here and there, to understanding paragraphs, phrases, and then it's just to playing the game where I am at now as a, I don't know, advanced learner, of picking out, you've got a whole book but there's one word in it you don't know, and that then becomes your Anki card. Or you got a whole book but there's one word you've seen before and you know how to read it, you just know it's there but you've forgotten it, and then you make a new Anki card of that word because you forgot it, and then next time obviously you see it in your deck, hopefully because you've seen it in a different sentence, different context. There it is again. That's a question people ask me all the time as well. How do I learn to read the kanji? The best way to do it is by seeing them in context of a sentence. Again, you want to be listening to or watching content made by natives for natives. That is the ultimate #1 rule which you need to keep in mind. A lot of people get put off by this method because of the vast amount of things they don't understand at the very beginning. Instead, they should be open to this content rather than pushing it away. Don't beat yourself up for the things you don't know. This is your opportunity to absorb all the things that you don't know. This is the thing I get excited about, like, oh my goodness, I don't know this word, what does this kanji mean? And that's the sort of game you should be playing. It shouldn't be any sort of grind. And if it is a grind, then you're doing it wrong. You need to find content that you'd normally enjoy. For example, I like climbing, I like Ninja Warrior, I like video games, so I'm watching people do climbing videos on YouTube in Japanese. I'm watching Sasuke broadcasts from Japan. I'm watching Dragon Ball and stuff like that. I'm playing video games in Japanese, I buy them from Japan. Or if I'm lucky enough that it's got a language setting, obviously I swap it over. My phone's in Japanese, so everything I do in daily life is in Japanese as well. Speak to Japanese friends as much as possible, that sort of thing. A reminder that you're not there to dissect every single word when you're in the wild per se. You're just looking for that single word that you don't know in a sentence that you do know the rest of. Don't get lost in it all. I did that with Pokemon, and I spent maybe 3 or 4 hours trying to get to the same sort of position that a native speaker would get to in 20 minutes, and that really was an absolute grind. But yeah, that's basically the whole process. rinse and repeat sentence mining, along with going through your previous cards until fluent. That's all there is to it. Expand your experiences, look for things outside your normal hobbies and interests when you run out of words in that field. And as you get more confident, work your way up from reading children's books or manga aimed at children to reading novels, newspapers, and watching things that are aimed at adults instead of children. And it'll all just come together. You'll find that by the time you finish Nihongo Shark's Core 2000 deck, you'll get the gist of most things that you see here and there. And I can't really tell you what things to watch or listen to because it has to be tailored to your own likes and interests. Whatever it is you're doing, just make sure you enjoy it. But kanji are so difficult and so complicated. How do I even read them in a sentence? Well, if you can read this sentence as I love Japan, then you'll be able to read Japanese. You'll be able to read kanji because that's how it works. They are just pictures and they carry meaning and they carry that reading of love. If you count love as a reading, then there it is. Simple as that. If you can read emojis, or you can read, I don't know, even GIFs, I guess. If you can read emojis, you can read kanji. Loads of people get really held up on the numbers as well, like, oh, I've been immersing for 5 hours, 32 minutes and 87 seconds, or whatever. and they ask me how much immersion I get every day like that. Don't even worry about it. I mean, I'm a crazy busy guy. I work a 12-hour day. I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a gym rat, dedicated gym rat, so each day for me is different as well. Like some days I'll have 8 hours if I've been listening whilst driving or I've been playing video games or whatever, it all just adds up. And some days, because I'm so busy, I'll get absolutely nothing. But my Anki cards always get done. Again, the icing on the cake, just keep moving it forward and keep putting that in there into your brain and helping you move on. Don't get hung up on the numbers, just enjoy whatever it is you're doing. As always, I'll be down here in the comments if you have any questions or if you need anything, but other than that, have fun with it. I look forward to hearing from you about your experiences and especially as well watching your update videos of how fast you learn Japanese through AJATT. Please let me know. As always, take care, stay strong, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.